Daniel Bryan beat the world at WrestleMania, won the title, and his merch sales went down.
Yeah,
like that. That's analytics that can't be argued with.
That's true.
And it's like the journey is the destination. You know what I mean? It's once they reach there, it's like, oh, I don't care about him anymore.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's end with "Oh, you didn't, bro."
Oh, you didn't, bro.
So I'm really interested about this particular topic here. So I'm really interested in, you were a pivotal part in SmackDown for a while. You were, lead writer there. And 2000, what is this? 2000, what was that? KofiMania was 19, I believe, 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
You'd say so.
That was I was there when he won the championship. That was
me too.
That was, of course, you were.
But I did.
That was in Jersey.
Walk away the very next day. So.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Yeah. That was in Jersey, so that was 35. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that was 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, it was. I'm really interested to know your kind of like an inside take on this when it came to Kofi Kingston, because Kofi Kingston wasn't the original idea. It was the Mustafa Ali having that, having kind of like his coming out party. Orton, this is all from the top of my head, so let me know if I'm wrong in any of this, Brian. So Mustafa Ali, Orton injures Ali, and so that takes Ali out. It was kind of the Elimination Chamber match and the gauntlet on SmackDown, I think it was the pivotal moment when the crowd just kind of organically got behind Kofi, and that led to Vince, trying to bring him down a few times, and at the end he has.
Well, I would argue that that's what made the people get with him so much, was that the man was trying to keep him down. You know what I mean? Like, and that he set up that, holy mackerel, what a heel. Yes, sir. You can go and have the championship match if you beat these 5 guys. You know what I mean? Like, it was, I thought that was one of the arguments we got into was literally about the go home to that, or the match leading up to that gauntlet match. I just had a different vision.
What was your vision?
Truth be told, I pitched Big E be the guy, and it just because I love Big E's character. I love he's a big guy, so he's a believable character. He also cuts those almost Southern Baptist promos that I thought if he could find a happy medium between that, between preaching a sermon and cutting a promo, I thought that would be really cool.
Well, that sounds like Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah. And maybe it would be, you know what I mean, of our era. But my original idea for that was to, you walk down the line of the 5 competitors that Kofi was going to have to face, and you get to the last one, and you go back to Vince in the middle, and he says, good luck next week. You know what I mean? And you go off the air. And then they were like, no, we got to do physicality. And I was like, no, don't do physicality. And he said, well, you got a live event out there. And I said, well, that's Michael Hayes' problem, not mine. and we ended up getting all heated over that as things started kind of unraveling for me at that point in my head. But it was, it's still great stuff. I wish he hadn't lost the title so soon afterwards.
Who came? Well, I mean, to be fair, he lost it. He kept it for 6 months, right? So we'll talk about that too, because I mentioned what you think about. He had it for 6 months. He lost it to Brock in like basically a blink of an eye because of the premiere of the Fox, just because of the Fox premiere, right? That was the reason why they did that, and they wanted Brock to be more of the face to that new kind of regime type deal. Yeah. I'm interested in more in that as far as just the backstage, but from Kingston's standpoint, why did y'all decide to keep moving with Kingston with the momentum, as opposed to like Rusev Day, for instance. That was just continued to be dampered and squelched and things like that.
Yeah.
Why Kingston, which I was totally fine that it went that way, because I think organically Kingston made sense.
Yeah.
But organically Rusev made sense too, but there was continued, de-pushing with him.
Yeah. I was always a fan of Rusev and Lana too, for that matter. I'm friends of theirs. We still stay in contact and stuff, and I talk to them often. So I was a advocate for them. I don't think everybody was. But I think you said it when you said like it was just organic and it just happened. And it was almost like bigger than booking at that point. Correct. It was like, this is a tidal wave that you're either going to get and ride into shore, or it's going to sink you. You know what I mean? Yep. So let's go with that. And look, we went up there every week during that build saying, we got to stick with this. We got to stick with this. And he listened to us,
Nice.
Man, I got to tell you though, Brian, before you got to Rusev Day first, when he was like a legitimate heel and Lana was doing her shtick,
yeah,
bro, he was this close to being a main of like this. Yeah. Like I was pitching at that time, like Kurt wasn't doing anything with the company.
Yeah.
And I was pitching if Kurt came in and Rusev like really hurt him.
Yeah.
You had bro, it was so close.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and you realize it was just to prop him up to have Cena beat him at Mania.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what we did. And that's not new way of thinking.
Yeah.
But why? See, that's what I'm. But why? Like, why did Cena need that rub at Mania? What was like? Explain to me, Brian. Why was that the
Well, look, there may not be a creative reason why. But I guarantee you there's a reason, like somewhere, like, you know what I mean? Behind the scene handshake deal, whatever. Like I want this, need this, whatever. And it may not be a creative reason why. Hey, we're going to prop this big heel up. Cena's going to beat him, and then we'll try to move on. And truth be told, he was resurrected when he became kind of quasi babyface, and then we did everything we could to hold him down. So
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like,
you don't always know the reasons.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't understand. He came out in the tank. He was like just a really, really solid push. Yeah. And he got to the point where like he was organically becoming that baby face. Rusev Day. There were shirts that were coming out. It was a big merch seller. And I'm just really interested, Brian, in like, from your experience backstage, was anybody like really going to bat for Rusev?
Oh, yeah.
Why was he getting held back? Was he difficult to work with? What was it that was causing him to be held back from Rusev Day?
Well, so there was some issues with Lana and him and the engagement, and they were in the middle of a story.
The
and
IG post.
You know what I mean? There were some things that if people had a negative idea about them, I see where they got it, but I think it's also youth and mistakes, and you know what I mean? Like you don't let that, in my mind, you don't let that hinder you from making money. And I believe Miro is a guy that you could have made money with.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess my last thing with the Kingston thing, before I mentioned this, I don't want to veer away from this. So my thing with Kingston, he kept the belt. He won it in April. He lost it in October. 6-month reign. He had some decent matches. He didn't feel bigger. Like it seems like the crescendo was
the victory.
The WrestleMania first black champion.
Because that's a real thing. Go back to Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan beat the world at WrestleMania, won the title, and his merch sales went down.
Yeah,
like that. Wow. That's analytics that can't be argued with.
That's true.
And it's like the journey is the destination. You know what I mean? It's once they reach there, it's like, oh, I don't care about him anymore. It was funner to watch you dig.
And that's what happened. It seems like from a crowd perspective with Kofi.
Yeah,
that's they tried to make it relevant, but the chase was the intrigue. I mean that's what caused the intrigue, was the chase.
Yeah, and the dream moment, and the thought of.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? The hope.
Yep. And just even from a cultural standpoint, you know what I mean? Like, wow, you know what I mean? You can bring like Kofi Kingston is going to be the first, African born, WWE champion, and just a lot of just a lot of relevance. We're talking about being relatable a lot in this show. We saw a lot of that, and I think that was cool. But when he won it, though, it was like, oh, he has to defend the title on SmackDown next week. It kind of
hey, and that's one reason I walked away. It was one reason. There were several.
Brian,
that creative decision was one of them.
I gotta ask you this question. Do you think this has anything to do with it? Like you talk about the chase, the dream, and finally, Okay, but once now a guy like Kofi and a guy like Daniel Bryan, once they're now the champion, does it kind of sink in, you think, that people, even if it's subliminal, that like, bro, these guys are too small. Like there's no way.
Look, I do think there's something to that. Especially if you're talking about the layperson. Now, look, if you're talking about the black T-shirt wearing guy that tunes into AEW, he doesn't care. But real Brian, people go, that dude, I'd kill that guy.
Brian, why during your era? Why was Brett and Shawn believable as champions then?
Well, I also think the work was a lot different. The work, they used to work like it was an actual, contest and a physical fight, and we don't work like that anymore. Now we just worry about our work rate and how many spots we can do. And look, I can do a backflip. Yeah. And so I don't believe it's real. I don't think if I saw you at the gas station, you could beat me up and you're the champion. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I totally get that. Yep.
So from your experience, so post Kofi, you weren't even there,
right,
to see. So from what you've heard, do you know any reason why, Brock came in? Was it a Vince move of like, okay, well, this Kofi train is kind of reaching a park, and we've got this new Fox deal. We need a more, I guess, popular face. I mean, what was the deal behind Brock? Just like that, ruining Kofi.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I think we all talk in hyperbole now. Like I don't think it ruined Kofi. You know what I mean? I think it
did. As a main eventer, it did. I mean, he hasn't came back because he's never been a main eventer after that.
Well, let me ask you: was he a main eventer then?
I think he was legitimately a main eventer in the moment.
Okay.
I think in the season.
I agree 100% with you.
Beforehand, no. After, no.
In
the season, yes. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it probably was Fox, Brock Lesnar, cross appeal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's a name that, and Vince loves him, and Vince is drawn with him, and so. Tried and true. Hey, let's shock the world and send him out there and kill him in a minute and blah blah blah. I mean, I can hear him saying it now. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. But maybe Big E would have given a better battle. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah, but even though I remember it was when they had their Japan deal, and Brock just came and killed all three members of the New Day and just laid them all out.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, there's money on the table with Big E and Brock. Why would you do that? I mean,
agree. Look, and maybe there's money in the future with those two.
I would hope so.
Maybe they didn't leave that money on the table.
Yeah, I'm game for that. But Big E's like on the verge of saying, I've accomplished everything I have been. I've been champ. I'm cool if I don't wrestle again.
Yeah. Well, that's an awesome thing for a young man at that age to be able to say.
I agree.
Not have regrets about it because. Like I just had to get fat and old and slow and realize I was slowing everybody down before I said, okay, I quit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's kind of land the plane on that right there. Good discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Outlaws with the Hall of Famer, Road Dogg Brian James, with the man, the myth, the legend, Vince Russo. I'm Dr. Chris. Have a good night, everybody. Solo.